Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Talking Towns transfer reaction show. I'm your host, The Gov, and we are here reacting to the news that Ipswich Town have signed Man United defender Brandon Williams on loan for the season. No option to buy included in the deal. It's been reported. I'm sure I've seen over the course of the day. How are you feeling this evening after securing the Man United defender? Gregley obviously leaving permanently also today, going to Oxford. We'll touch on that through the course of the evening, but we really want to hear from you guys and girls at home. Get active in the live chat. There's a link that I've just dropped into the show, so please do click it, come on the show and have your say. It's your opinion, and only you can voice your opinion in your own words, so do use it. Do come and say hello, if anything. Just chew the fat, as it were. Before we go any further, he will wear number 18. So let's have 180 like targets. So use your thumbs or your mouse if you're old school like me on a computer. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button if you're also here. Thank you very much, Cruncher. Nice top. Appreciate that, man. I found it at the back of the water. I was like, I didn't even know I owned that. Boom. And 2 points of housekeeping, if you like. First and foremost, we have one adult and one under 13 ticket for Reading that we'll be giving away. Keep your eyes on our social media. I'll be putting a post out on there with what you need to do. It might just be a simple case of liking a tweet, liking a post on Facebook, Instagram, and then I'll put you all on a wheel, and 2 lucky people could be going to Reading. It's a sellout, so get involved. That's come from Craig, one of our viewers. So thank you very much, Craig, for that kind gesture. It's really, really kind. And the second information is the FCAs are open. The Football Content Awards. You guys have put us there 2 years running. Can we make it a third? Fingers crossed. So please vote for us. You can do so by clicking the link in the chat or in the description if you're watching on catch up. Hello, hope you're well. And you can also vote 3 times on the website, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And if you're like me, just a little bit pushed for time, I've put the tweet in the description and in the chat. Just copy and paste it over to Twitter. Bish bash bosh. Job done. Vote for Talking Town. Let's see if we can get there. Best club content creator is our category. So please do vote for us in that one. Talking Town, ITFC, best club content creator. Right, we're here to discuss Brandon Williams. Let's bring in Curtis. Curtis, he's over the line. He's here. He's on loan. What are your thoughts on it this evening?
Big signing, it. I think that comes across as a statement of signing to the whole league. This is a player who quickly rose through the ranks at United, and unfortunately, the past couple of seasons, he's had a fair few injuries, which is unfortunate. But he comes highly rated, and I don't think anyone would have put us in pole position to have signed him this summer. So I'll take him. I'm not quite sure where he's going to fit, but yeah, I'll take him. I think this is what you would class if all being well. I think this is what you probably would class as another needle mover of a signing. I think.
You think that highly of the player? That it's a real needle mover.
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, like I say, you don't come through at United and make just over 50 appearances for the club if you've not got some kind of ability. And let's remember, like, whilst we don't want to remember it, he did play Premier League football for Norwich, and like I say, bar injuries, which has kept him from playing senior football again, and he's had to drop a level, possibly due to that. This is a player with a lot of ability. This is a player who was trusted at a very elite club, and for one or another reason, it's not worked out for him due to his injuries. But he's here now. He's our player for this season, and who knows what after. But yeah, I rate it massively. Yeah.
And you mentioned that loan spell at Norwich, and we forgive him for that, you know. But I've got his graphics card, or his stats card rather, up from his time at Norwich. I can change the picture finally for him moving forward, which is great to see. So I can change that from a Man United shirt to a blue and white shirt. But this was his season on loan at Norwich. His last. I've used this primarily because it's the bigger body of work, as I explained on last night's show. It's 23 games. It shows that the bigger stats that we can work from over a longer period. Game started 23, assists 1, tackles per game 2.1, interceptions 1.7, big chances created 2, touches 58.2, and accurate passes 82%. Premier League 21-22 season with Norwich. So Premier League player, had a few injuries, but he's a Premier League player, has played 23 games, certainly for Norwich in the Premier League, and he's played in the Europa League, Champions League, I think, played a couple of times for United, and there are his stats on the screen. So having seen his stats now, Curtis, they're pretty good stats for a Premier League defender there in a poor team.
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to state. People have got to remember, whilst on face value these stats don't look amazing, you've got to remember he was playing in a poor Norwich side, and so therefore, unless you really are, unless you're possibly a striker playing out of his wits, then I don't think you're ever going to look amazing. But you've got to remember, this is a poor side that he managed to still be highly rated in. I mean, I'd like to think we've all seen the photo tonight of Norwich fans with the banner, and they were begging him to stay. I mean, that's how embarrassing it is. They made a banner begging him to stay. Like, so he's clearly a good player. Otherwise, I'd imagine they wouldn't be doing that. I mean, listen, I know they're a bit dodgy down there, but I'd like to think you wouldn't be making a banner if you weren't keen on the player. So no, I'm really happy with it. I think, like I say, I think it's a signing which, again, it shows statement of intent, and I don't think anyone at all would have put us pole position to have signed him. As I said earlier, I think it's just something that shows the level of signing that we are going through this summer now. I think, like, we obviously we all got a bit bored waiting for signings to come through the door, but if you get this level of signing coming in and it takes a little bit longer, I mean, as I said to you prior to the show starting, this is a deal that's been going on prior to Sunderland. Evidently, he mentioned himself. He was at the game. He was at the Sunderland game watching us. So this is a deal that's ticked along. And if it's took that long to get this over the line, then fair dues. I'm all for it. If it means getting quality like this through the door, I'll take it.
Absolutely. I'm going to get a few comments from our chat, then I'll jump to Phil, and we've got Lee Anderson waiting as well. We've got Marcus, who's sad to see Greg Lee go. Zero, I know he's a left back, straight right back, but could you see him playing left centre back when Clark is fully fit? Williams, Wolfie, Clark, and Davis, I think he means a bit higher up on the left. Brandon Carter says versatile player who acts as both cover for Leaf and compete at right back. Worried this might mean Clark gets some surgery and have a long spell out to sort out the Achilles. Obviously, he's managing that Achilles at the moment. JTP reading that reading on the mind. Reading that Williams has had attitude problems with his loan clubs. I'm hoping he settles with us. Steve Wright, get the checkbook out for a needle moving striker and centre back. I'm getting worried that not a lot will be coming through through that door. Paul P. My guess is Clark needs surgery and JD isn't deemed to be good enough for regular starting. JTP, anyone that's played 23 games Premier League at a young age definitely has potential. Phil, what do you make of the signing this evening?
Yeah, absolutely terrific, mate. Absolutely wonderful. I think with the name and where he's come from is a boost to all town fans out there. I, for one of those, I when I first sort of thought, oh yes, please, and really good signing for town, just at the right moment in time, and I think that just looking at some of those comments there, I don't think Brandon will have a problem settling at town. I think McKenna is a manager that has really instilled, confidence and belief, and that enjoyment that the players, I think, show on the field of play every time that they play. Personally, but I don't think you'll have any issues here. Hopefully,
well, I haven't seen any issues. But I have to be honest, I'm so busy today that I haven't had a chance to fully get across the whole media sphere of what's been written and what's been said about the signing. But if anybody can do it, Phil, you've got to trust it's Kieran McKenna, youth team manager for Brandon Williams, gets a lot out of players and very much seems a man's manager, a man that the players radiate to, love to play for, and really believe that this is a man that can get the best out of me. And this is an ideal landing spot for him in a very similar way George Hurst was in January.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I must say, even before he signed here permanently, earlier this month, that I felt that that he would fit right into the way that McKenna plays, his ethic, the way that he sets his teams up, his tactics. I think pretty much every player that plays in a Town shirt for me over the last 18 months has really put a shift and a half in, pretty much every game they've played. And I think McKenna is definitely one of those types of managers. And the players like him. The players warm to him. They'll play for him. That's what players are like and what they should be doing. But I think all round this is a good sign. I think just adding on to some of the comments and what's already been said by other fans, that I feel as though when with the current situation with injuries we've got at the moment, I think that you're probably more filling at right back to begin with, and perhaps when maybe JD is fit enough to come back in, that I think over the long term, given his age, I think that he'll probably provide competition with Davis for that left back role. I think that competition to those players who seem to regularly start every game, it provides some competition, it provides some to think about, and it also gets them probably working that bit extra in training just to impress the manager to fill that shirt number come Saturday afternoon for me. So I think it's a really, really good sign for all round. It's only a win-win situation, I think, for the team, and he'll improve that defensive line, I'm sure.
And before I let you go and bring in Lee Anderson, obviously, does the structure of the deal, how does that feel for you? It's a loan deal. There's no option to buy included. I think I read that Town wanted one included, but it wasn't in the end for whatever reason. Does that concern you in the sense of this is a player that you could really take to, you could pump the value up, make it harder for yourself next summer when the Sharks start circling, having seen him play for Town, or are you really not concerned at that lack of option to buy?
I'm not concerned at the moment. I think that he will come. He will come here and he will enjoy himself. I'm pretty 100% sure about that. I think pretty much every player who's played in the Town shirt so far has warmed to McKenna. And what McKenna's done for the players at the club here is that he's improved them. He's instilled the confidence and belief in those players, and those players are enjoying the football because of it. We're playing a good brand of football. We're playing a winning brand of football, and long may it continue. And it's just a win-win situation for the manager, the team, and the fans around. And just to add, just one more thing. I'm off to the
one more thing. We love you.
I'm off to the Reading game on Tuesday night with Colin and a couple of his mates. And I'm not surprised to see that the game is sold out as far as the Town fans are concerned. And just adding on to that situation with the priority system that the club's imposed this season, that those tickets, those away tickets, are going to be like gold dust every other week now.
It shows you're moving in the right direction.
It provides competition for the fans. And so I'm saying there's a few grounds that I've not been to this season, so I'm looking forward to perhaps getting to this time round.
Absolutely. Phil, as always, it's a pleasure talking football with you. Look after yourself, my man. Ely said even an all decent player didn't quite hit it running like everyone thought he would, but hopefully a season under K-Mac will improve him and us significantly. I'm sad to see Lee go. Kieran McKenna, obviously on Phil's comment there about Reading, if you want to be at Reading and you couldn't get tickets, well, Craig, one of our viewers, has kindly given us one adult and one under 13 ticket to give away. There'll be information on our social media. So if you're not already over our social medias, why not? Instagram, Talking Town ITFC, Facebook, Talking Town ITFC, Twitter, Talking Town ITFC, TikTok even, ladies and gentlemen. I know the Gubby's getting fully down with all forms of modern social media, Curtis. I don't understand TikTok one bit. I just post a video and run away. Kieran McKenna had this to say on the sign today. We're really pleased to have Brandon here. He's someone I've noticed at a very young age, and I've seen his journey and how hard he's worked to get where he gets to. He's still very young, a large amount of experience for a 22-year-old, but he's coming off a season where he hasn't played many minutes and has had some bad luck with injuries. He's a dynamic, athletic defender who plays with great energy and commitment. So there's that profile, Kurt, where you're building the profile what the ITFC player is from McKenna, and that's sort of it in a nutshell. Dynamic, athletic, great energy and commitment. Can go inside and outside from both wings and can pass and cross with both feet. He's an aggressive and positive defender who enjoys defending. Can also give us threats going forward from different positions. So that very much that profile, tick, tick, tick.
Yeah. As I said, he kind of likes to get young players in that he can mold to what he wants. So he fits the bill, and this is exactly what Ashton was talking about. When we're not dealing in a large pool here. We're not dealing in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. We're dealing in like a kid's paddling pool when it's like 30 odd degrees outside. That's what we want. We've got a very fine selection of the players that we want. And again, unfortunately, some of those players they'll be out of our range. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And I think this is one of those situations where we've gone to them, we've asked what can possibly work. I mean, again, whether this has a to buy option or not, we're led to believe that it doesn't. But I do believe that there's possibly conversations that could possibly go on during this season, especially. But yeah, no, I mean, just to also sidetrack onto Phil's comment there. I know there's been a lot of chatter about the Reading tickets selling out. I'd be very interested to see whether the last 2 away games that we've got at the end of the season at Cardiff and Hull, I'd be very interested to see whether they sell out just as quickly once the big ticket game is in the books. So we'll see.
Good point. Good point.
It's all good selling out your Reading away cup round tickets, but let's see how quickly we sell out Cardiff away.
It's all about the points, baby. Just like in the league table. Just like at the league table. It's all about the points. Paul P, listening to his interview, he hasn't come here to sit on the bench. Harps, even though it's inevitable during the last 24 hours, this guy's a step up and exactly what we need. Well pleased and also lovely. Never let us down. Blaze Dog won't be on the bench ahead of Clark for me. Decent upgrade. And Mike D, he's played in the Champions League. He's not come to sit on the bench. Is above Clark for me at right back, Lee Anderson, says Mike D. What do you think?
Well, he's certainly an upgrade, isn't he? What a fantastic signing he is. And I think because he can play either side, that's a win-win, isn't it? You know, you've got an upgrade that can play either side. You know, and on that, let's just think that, you know, when you watch Leif Davis play week in, week out, is he going to be able to do that for 46 games? You know, there's squad rotation here. And you know, the earlier comments coming to sit on the bench. Well, he might have to sit on the bench for a little bit because I think there'll be some more rotation. And we couldn't do that much last year with Leif Davis because we had a smaller bench and we needed the attacking players on the pitch more often. But now we've got a bigger bench. We can have more defenders on that bench and we can have more options. So I think it's, you know, he's here to obviously compete. Does he walk straight into the team? Probably not. I mean, Jack Taylor didn't, did he? He's still waiting for his chance. But it's a long season. It's not too. We've only played 3 games. So he's going to get his opportunity. And he's certainly, you know, added quality to the first team 11. You know, he's not a backup. They're not backups anymore. We've still got backup players, but ones that we're bringing in are not backup anymore. They're all part of that match day squad, and they're all an improvement. So long may that continue. And just on the oh yeah, and also I think he could play wide right as well, or left. He could do a sort of Burns role because he can defend. So? Well, Burns, what was he? He was a right back, wing back. What's this guy? I mean, watching some of his footage and how dynamic and quick he is, you know, you could bring him on or move him up. I mean, wouldn't be the first time that you've seen a left back play in front of a left back or a right back in front of a right back, you know, and add that on. I don't see Clark moving into the middle with one either side because Clark's right-footed and, you know, you probably wouldn't drop Wolfenden and you're not going to drop Burgess at the moment because he's left-footed. So we're still in for a left-sided defender. That's how I
So you don't see the signing of Brandon Williams as sort of ending that pursuit because obviously, you know, he can play centre half if you need him to. No,
I mean Williams has come in, but you think if you've got Williams, Davis, Chaplin, Morsey, that you know you're losing some height there. You still got to have some height, and I can't see. I don't think Clark can demand a centre back position the same as say Burgess, who heads everything and such like. So you've got to have balance to your team there. We can't go on their team with 5'10s. We're going to get, you know, and Broadhead's not the biggest either. So I know he's dynamic and that, but I think height wise, I mean Danasin when he's played there, Clark They've all got a bit of height about them, haven't they? And you could also say the same for Greg Lee, but he could jump a little bit. So
that comment, Lee. Just to stop you, that comment from Joe Curry. A video package made Panya look amazing. Fool me once, shame on you. That's a quality comment, Joe. That's come out of the left. That's come out of nowhere. That's what made me laugh so much.
He's been thinking about it all day, hasn't he, Joe?
He's
been thinking about it all day. Feel that day.
He has.
Go on. Sorry. I was just going to say.
Brandon says, it feels good to be down here. I can't wait to get started. I'm coming here to hope you get into the team and play a lot of games. So, a player really eager to play as you'd expect. It's a loan deal. They always come with an expectation that the club sending him out on loan wants him to see him play. I mean, we want to see Idris El-Mazzani and other players play. So there is going to be that level of expectation. He's got to earn it, of course, but there is going to be that level of he's got to break into the first team. And once he has, do so. And Colin Plum says not shopping in the basement anymore.
No, and just on that with Man U, I mean, the loan deal and the option to buy. So normally when there's an option to buy, the parent club has given up on the player, you would think. So two things here. They haven't given up on the player, even though he's in his last year because he's got a year's extension. And also, if you're sending a player that's been on the fringes and you're sending him to one of your top coaches that is now one of the top managers in the Championship, you've not given up on that player. So you can see why Man United wouldn't have that buy option in there, that clause in there, because they think that there's a chance. They haven't given up on him and they still see that potential. And if they see that potential, that just goes to show what sort of signing he is, particularly for us. And just on Lee, quickly.
Please do.
It's sad to see him go, but it's the evolution of the club, and every fan has got to get used to this, because there's going to be some starters that start on Saturday will be moving on from the team, because we're going to bring other players in to replace them, and that's the evolution that I don't think we've seen for probably Burley days, have we? We haven't seen that. Some of the youngsters wouldn't have seen the club evolve in the right direction at all. Always seen it go downhill, journeyman, too many loans, that sort of thing. So we've got to people have got to get used to the fact that these players are going to move on, because that's where that's the way the club is going.
It is, yeah, and it's only going up and up. And I really want, Lee, this type of options and quality for quality further up the field now. I really want to see, for me, a right winger to come and can really compete with Burns. So you have that same level. If Burns comes off, you've got somebody coming on that's going to really push him, really compete, or could start ahead of him, and other areas in the field. Where else for you do you want to see this same like-for-like transformation take place?
Well, I think we still need another striker.
Okay. Is that with losing one, or is that with keeping the ones with
I think, well, it depends. You've got Jackson, and it depends on the profile of what you're bringing in. But Jackson's a squad player. I think he's happy to stay around. Would Ladapo stay around? It depends on the size of the squad, on who else you're going to bring in. But our youngsters will go out on loan, won't they? I mean, Baggott will go once we get another centre back in. He's hanging around only because we haven't got that deal through, and if we can't get a deal through, then they'll go with Baggott. But we definitely need a striker. It depends on whether or not someone, a bit like Greg Lee, I suppose, and Edwards. They go knock on the manager's door and says, "Look, I don't want to be a bit player anymore. I want to play regular football." So you have to. I don't think the club will stand in their way, and I think we need those forward players, particularly in place of Broadhead and Burns. So I think Burns needs to be an upgrade, not somebody to compete, because we're out. I've just said we're out of that league. So if we bring somebody in, it's not like Hutchinson, who we're sort of developing a little bit. We need someone that, if we do bring someone else in, they've got to be better than what we've already got.
Absolutely.
That's got to be that way. And you notice the game on Saturday, watching the game Saturday, that at 0-0 after 75 minutes, who comes off that bench to change the game? Who have we got that was already really better than what we had on the pitch? The only person I can think of would have been Edwards, but Edwards doesn't want to play. So he offers something different. When you're 1-0 up, 2-0 up, yes, you bring your solid players on. You bring you bring Harness on, that sort of thing. But we were short there on attack and options to change a game when either we need to chase it or we need to get that first goal. And we haven't seen, we've not had that last season very much, did we? It was more the other way around. Or if we did have it, it was Edwards that was coming on. So I think there's a bit to do there. Hutchinson's still a bit raw.
Yeah, very much so. Very much going to be one that you bring on through the course of the season, and you have a different player very much at the end of it than how you started. But Lee, I've missed you. I've missed your voice on the platform. Thank you for jumping on this evening. It's been a pleasure.
That's okay. Oh, can I just say one thing? Can I just do?
Of course you can. One last thing. It's the Phil Blundell.
Yeah, this is sort
one
of
last thing.
It's pod related, really. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Tesco's, and I went to the checkout, and this lady said to me, "I've seen you on the telly." I said, telly? I said, don't go on a telly. You know, the Talking Town pod. She said, we watch it every week with season ticket holders. And I started, if you're watching, I didn't get the lady's name, but she served me on the checkout. So, yeah, massive. So big shout out to her. I'll say hello to her. But
hello. Welcome to Talking Town. Thank you for watching. Lee, we love you. We appreciate you. Lee Anderson.
Yeah, cheers, Kirsty, mate.
In Lowestoft Tesco's or another Tesco's or another supermarket. I think he clarified where he was.
Nationwide, worldwide.
Global. Even people on the moon are watching us right now. Right from the future. Right, there goes the webcam. Got Frank joining us very shortly just to close the show. We've got a couple of comments. Phil says, I thought it was a rumor that Fred to double for 3 million. I think you'd take 3 million, right, Curtis? Very quickly.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get anywhere near that. But yeah, if they offered that, I'd snatch Rand off and I'd drive him down in my little Toyota Argo.
Mike Deando is massive. Our bench is 2 weeks, says Josh. Before I bring Frank in, where do you want us? Because obviously Alan Nixon, I believe, still says Crystal Palace could look to allow Raksaki the opportunity to go out on loan, potentially on deadline day. And I'm sure I saw a tweet from him today that said something along the lines of the clubs interested have all had a chance to have their say and make their pitch, and it's now down to Crystal Palace on who they select and where he goes if they choose to allow him out.
I mean, for me, I really like Wes Burns. I think he's a player that I think he's becoming more solid and dependable as time moves on. And to be honest, it's not a case of looking to even replace or find someone of better quality. I mean, if you can get someone of better quality than Wes Burns, then I'm all for it. But more so someone to push him, really, rather than to take his position. Just because every player, well, every good player plays better when there's a bit of heat breathing down the neck. So I think someone who's equally as good as him, just someone to give him that extra oomph. I'd look for someone like that. I think there does have to be another centre back coming in, because I think if you start to get these injuries in a long season in the Championship, especially with how physical it can get. I mean, we saw QPR the other day. I mean, I don't know what happened to them, but they were dropping like flies. I'm not sure who runs their fitness department, but it can easily happen to any team. Things like that. You could just have a really off day where you have about 3 people go down with tweaks, and therefore you're left in the lurch. So I'd be looking for another. I'd be looking for a right-footed centre back for me.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, this is Clark, who we were led to believe was gonna go and have surgery because we weren't sure how bad his injury was, and out of nowhere, he's suddenly available to play. We were supposed to forget about this injury that
This is Clark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to clarify, I mean, it was speculated that he might need surgery, but the only thing I've ever seen is that it's an Achilles that they're managing and have been managing since the summer. So it was one of those. I saw a few fans speculate. In fact, a few fans on this platform speculated, but it was never sort of he's going to need surgery. This is what, and then suddenly he's not.
That's the worry, though. You don't want to be managing.
No, I agree.
Yeah. You don't want to be managing these injuries for too long, because eventually that type of injury, it will come back and it'll bite you on the arse. So I think the good idea would be to get someone in to just cover maybe someone who's a bit multifunctional who can cover both your left footed centre back and your right footed centre back. So someone, I mean, you might have to pay a bit of a bunch for him, but if that's the case, then you have to do it. For me, I do think a striker comes in, but I don't think a striker comes in without moving one out. So therefore, I think Fred would be the unlucky casualty in that. I mean, a fantastic season last season again, a bit like Lee. I think again, someone who was important in helping us up. Obviously, both very different roles that they had. Greg Lee in being pretty much on the outside of the team throughout the season, only really coming in for the odd game and certainly cup games. Whereas obviously Big Fred chipped in with, what was it? What did he end on? Was it about 17 goals?
A really healthy goal return, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it might just be a case that he's here for a season and then he goes a bit like the way Joe Garner did, a bit like the way Martin Waghorn did, and I'm more than happy for that to be the case. He came in, he did his job. He helps us get out of that horrible league. But I don't think, like I say, I don't think you bring in another striker without shifting one on, because how do you sell that position to a striker coming in? How do you say,
isn't it?
That's the thing. How do you say that we play one up front, and in some games you might sit on the bench, even in this case, and if we don't shift Freddie Ladapo, how do you say, well, we've got Big Fred in front here, and then you've got your position, so we might bring you on, we might not, but also we might bring Caden Jackson on up front to run him down. I think you have to let one go in order to free up a space for another one. I think it would just be the smart move, especially because we can't have so many players in this squad this season. So if you can get money for Freddie Ladapo, I mean, like I say, I'm not sure we get the 3 million.
I can't see it being 3, no.
But if certainly you can get upwards, I'd say if you can get upwards of $1 million for him, I'd be more than happy, and I'd back the hand off for it, because he did his job last season. And to be fair, I think he'd be better. I think he'd be better for a lower league championship side, possibly upper end League One. And I mean, he's proven at League One level. I know he's scored a few in Championship, but there'll be someone looking out there for a striker, and he'll fit the bill of someone. So yeah.
Strikers are always in hot demand. Great comments as always, Kurt. We've got a few comments, and I'll come to Frank, and we'll sort of close the show from there. Not long left. Hit that like button. Use your thumbs. Use your mouses. Hit the like button. We'll go to Frank straight away. Oh, hang on. Phil, Gov, are you thinking of Reading watch along? I can be on live match commentary with you. Phil, I shall think about that, my friend. Frank, welcome in. Your thoughts this evening?
Pardon? My thoughts this evening. Well, my first thought is, what shirt are you wearing there? Because is that an Ipswich one been in the wash too many times, or is it?
This is a mega old one. This was my dad's. So when he died, I rescued it out of the wardrobe, and it's the UEFA Cup 1981 shirt, and it was just in the wardrobe when he died. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take that and think of him.
No, that's admirable. I have to say, admirable. My thoughts today, I mentioned it earlier on. I am a little bit disappointed, to be honest, that Greg Lee has gone. Some people say, well, it was inevitable. He was going to move on, but I didn't see it myself. I loved his physicality. I loved his football intelligence on the field. I don't think there was one game where I could honestly say Greg Lee let me down or let us down. So, yeah, I'm just a bit bemused by that one. It's nice to see our new signing, our wing back from Manchester United, who was booed off the field by the N-word, as you know. But I don't know if he couldn't have just kept hold of Greg Lee as well. You know, I just feel sad about that. With Kyle Edwards, it was almost inevitable, but I didn't see Greg Lee coming in this situation until about a week ago, and then there was talk about Oxford United taking an interest in him. And now he has sadly gone. So we'll just have to see. But Williams is a good defender. He's played in the Champions League. He's played for Manchester United quite a few times. Yeah, competition for places, I suppose, at the end of the day. At the end, thank God I said it myself. At the end of the sorry.
At the end of the day, no. And the thing is, I think, you know, in terms of Greg Lee, it's very sad to see him go. As you say, he's been always dependable. I said this on last night's show. Very dependable player. never let us down. But when you come to looking at your squad, if you're Greg Lee, you want to go out and play. If some club wants you, that's Oxford, and they're willing to pay a fee for you, which it's been undisclosed today, you want to go and play football. And if you're looking at your options, you've got Leif Davis as number one, Williams coming in, and you've got Clark and the National on the other side. So there's a numbers game, and I would want to go out and play. And I am, if he's the most diehard Town fans, I'd probably look at a Town fan. I'd probably look at it and go, I really want to play, and the options are getting squeezed here. Even if you're given the first chance at replacing Leif Davis, for example, it's still a heavy squad. It's still another player coming in. So I can see why he's gone, but I'm with you, Frank. It's very sad because he's been a very dependable player for the time he's been here.
And Ladke is an example of somebody who's been. Goalkeepers have to be patient. We know
Absolutely. Yes.
They have to be more patient than any other player on the field.
They do.
And Ladke's been extraordinarily patient. And he's got his chance now. And he's grabbed it, as I said earlier on, with both hands and feet, as you suggested. And I'm quietly optimistic that he might just hang on to that spot. A lot of people say Christian Moulton, he comes back, he'll replace him. It just depends. It just depends how long Walton's away and how good Ladke will play, because at the moment he's playing exceptionally well. He was a man of the match in the last game, in my opinion. And I'd love to see him prove the doubters wrong, of which there's been many, I have to say.
There has. And that obviously stems back to the start of his Town career, where it was such a team in transition that you can't hold that against any player. But particularly one that's come back into the side now and really made the position his own. We've heard a lot tonight about, obviously Williams coming in and the positions. Are you one that's comfortable, Frank, in terms of if they said today, that's it, no more business, turn your phones off till the start of September? You're shaking your head at me. You're not. You wouldn't be comfortable with that.
No, I think we still need a couple of players. Obviously, midfield, we've exploited that zone. It's not necessary anymore. Goalkeeping department, I think, is fine, especially as Ladke's playing well. Somebody said we possibly need yet another goalkeeper, and if we did, that is logical, because if you had some sort of experienced keeper from the lower leagues who's done it, got the T-shirt, could come in for a few months in a loan spell, maybe till January, that is possibly doable. But the main key areas that I think that still need serious attention is another centre-back, I would say, and another forward. Fast forward, somebody like Jezerun Raksaki, for example. I think something that would complement what we've already got. I think Freddie Ladapo is surplus to requirements. This is controversial, but I think he'll be impatient as well, because he doesn't want to come on the field for 5 minutes at the end of every game. And George Hurst has nailed that position for the moment. So what's going to happen there? Do you think Freddie Ladapo might make a move in the transfer window? Because he's another one that's missing opportunities.
Remains to be seen, Frank. That is it. You've got a lot of players in question. Edwards being one, Ladapo. Are they going to be moving on? Aren't they going to be moving on? And if they, maybe it's them having the chance to move on that then allows the opportunity for the club now to bring somebody in. Very much the way, Lee leaves, Williams arrives, or Williams arrived, Lee leaves. Whatever it is, there's always that famous effect in football where you wait for cards to start falling, and then once one falls, it's like a house sale, I guess.
Yeah, it's
the chain moves itself on, doesn't it? And suddenly it's
domino effect. Really.
That's it. That's the one. I was always getting card games mixed up. I can't play chess or tiddlywinks.
I'm terrible at chess. Drafts was my specialty. But in all seriousness, you quizzed me over Elkin Baggett. I thought long and hard about it, and I couldn't deliberate. I deliberated too long. But I think Ipswich should keep Elkin Baggett. Don't loan him out. We're short enough. If we don't get another centre half in, then his position is even more imperative. And he played so well against RB Leipzig. And I think he's maturing rapidly now. He's a big, strong lad. He's tall. He's about the same height as Terry Butcher, I think. I think we should keep him. That's finally what I've decided. As I said earlier on, that's why I wasn't a very good football manager. I couldn't make decisions quick enough.
There you go. Frank, as always, a pleasure talking football with you, my man. Look after yourself. We've got the Cruncher joining us for the last word in just one moment. Before we do, FCAs are out. Best club content creator, Talking Town, ITFC. Please vote for us. Links are in the chat, in the description. If you're on Twitter, you can copy over that wonderful tweet there, Curtis. Also, on Twitter, it says, I am voting in at the FCAs for at Talking Town ITFC in category Best Club Content Creator. And we do have 2 Reading tickets as a giveaway, one adult, one under 13, kindly donated by viewer Craig. keep an eye on our social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for information on that one. And I do believe the Cruncher has something very special himself, or very important, rather, he would like to share also, right?
3,000 sold for Reading, 300 in attendance.
Probably will be. Talk to me about this fundraiser. Very important.
So this afternoon, I think we're going to air it tomorrow night. I sat down with, I think everybody knows the story about Mason, who passed away. Mason Fountain as an 18th minute applause. So had a little chat with his mum, which we're going to pop into tomorrow night's show. And his sister, mine, Chloe, is running the Ipswich Half Marathon.
Okay.
In aid of, I think it's the hospice that he was in Ipswich. I think it's Zest they're raising funds for. And there's a Just Giving link. It's on my Twitter. I think you've got it. I did WhatsApp it to you. So I don't know if you want to drop it in the link to this show or pop it in tomorrow night. But if you can afford to just donate a couple of quid, it'd be good. I see Collins already. He's popped a tenner in, which is much appreciated. So yeah, it's probably, we've done a lot of good things here, Martin, in the last 2.5 years, but it's probably one of the hardest interviews I've had to do today. And it was just, I really appreciated that she gave us the time to, it was only like 5 or 10 minutes, but yeah, hopefully everyone tuned in tomorrow night and they enjoy that and they really get involved on Saturday at 18 minutes and just get on your feet and applaud. And yeah.
Okay. We've got a few minutes left of the show. So give us your thoughts on the latest town news now, Rich.
Brandon Williams. I think he's a bit of a shithouse, isn't he, Curtis, as well? I like. Yeah. Look, for too long, we've been too nice, haven't we, as a football club under previous managers, previous owners. This lad's come in. I watched the first 5 minutes, and I agree totally, Yatesy, what you got to say. This lad's coming from the Premier League, you know, and he's played 50 plus games for United. He's a good player. A little bit disappointed, mine. I know you are, that it's not potential to a permanent, but look, they could touch on that at the end of the season because he is in his last 12 months of his contract. I know United have got another 12-month extension, but I can't see him staying at Man United. He played, one game last season, I think. But look, he's a highly
injury that wasn't it, though? Because he was in last season. He's
highly rated, and I see he impressed Ten Hag when he went to America in pre-season. But look, fair enough for him. He's at an age, Martin, and we've spoke about this with certain players of ours, like Kyle Evans. They need to play football. They do. You know, it soon slips away your career, and you're playing 23s football that don't mean a lot. I just see the end of what Frank said there about Elkan Baggott. He's another one. Elkan Baggott, let's be fair, he done quite well at Gillingham. He went to Cheltenham, Curtis, and sat on the bench at a League One team. So for people to say that, we should keep him, you know, he's going to be, I think, a very good player, Martin. He needs to go out and forge a season at League One level, playing Saturday, Tuesday. But Brandon Williams, he's an upgrade. You know, well, people will say, oh, yeah, but he's not as good as Harry Clark or whatever. Harry Clark's injured. Harry Clark's got dodgy Achilles. There's obviously stuff going on there because we've let Greg Lee go. And isn't it weird, Martin? Someone like Greg Lee, I see today, if you go on the socials, he's getting so much love for somebody who only played a handful of games, but he was a really good squad player, Yatesy, who just whenever he came in, he done the job. I remember going to Derby away when I think Leif Davis was ill, and he came in there and he filled in and he done a brilliant job. Yeah. And he's another one he's at the stage of his career, Martin, where he needs to go and play week in, week out. So, yeah, Williams, good signing. Let's see where he fits in and what happens moving forward.
And very quickly, both of you, there's a question in the chat from Mike D. I'll start with you, Curtis. Would you start him Saturday?
No. I think you don't break up a winning side at the moment. His chance will come. It's a long season. His chance will come, and he'll no doubt take it, and then he'll stick in it. But no. The same way Taylor's had to wait for his chance. I think you set your stall out, and it'll come. Whether it's the fantastic sold out away end who gets to see him against Reading for his debut, we'll have to wait and see. But I think he just takes up another spot on the bench to come on at half time, something like that.
Rich, would you start him Saturday?
No, I agree with Curtis here. I don't think he's... Look, it's Thursday. He's travelled down. Look, he's had medicals. It's tiring, Martin, to expect someone to come in. Look what happened last season when Leif Davis, he was away in Australia with Leeds. He came in, and the first game he didn't impress. So let's let him get his feet under the table. It wouldn't even surprise me, Yates, if he wasn't even on the bench Saturday, Williams,
No.
and then he I'd be surprised if he didn't start on Tuesday at Reading, because that's the ideal opportunity to throw him in and get some minutes. And I know he's chomping at the bit and wants to play, Martin, but they all have to wait their turn. They do, like you say with Jack Taylor, and I know you're a massive fan, and so am I. But sooner or later, they get their opportunity, because you'll have an injury or someone might pick up a suspension. And when you get that chance, you just have to grab it with both hands. But isn't it great? When we started this platform, who are we signing? We were signing people like Stephen Ward at left back, and now we're signing players who played in the Champions League for Man United. And it's I don't know what you two think. It's surprised me a little bit. It's taken this long that Kieran's gone back to United. And when there's obviously been players linked before, but it's the first one. Look, McKenna brought him through when he was 23's manager, so he knows all about him. I see people questioning his attitude. Look, Kieran knows all about him, and I'd put your trust in the manager. He knows this player. And if you listen to his interview on Town TV, it was like Kieran's always been in touch with him. Martin Pert, Lee Grant was there when he was at United as the third choice goalie. So he's come into a club when he actually knows people and they trust him. And I think it's a really good signing, and I can't wait for him to stick it up the budgies.
Nigel says, let the guy find his feet living-wise before even training. Do you think because he's on loan for the season, he'll just live in the Salt House the whole year? Is that what they do when they're on loan?
Well, to start with, but they might find him. I don't know how it goes, but let's enjoy him while he's here, because he's a really good player. And there's I can't remember, one of the Twitter feeds put out about a minute clip of him at United, and
yeah, but as Joe said, Baron Banya's.
Yeah, I know you can make anyone look good in a minute, but I've seen this lad play for United, and he's a good player, Martin. He's a good player, and sooner or later he'll be in your first team. He'll be playing.
Well, who knows? Maybe Captain Fantastic can put him up in his annex, where like he did with all the other young players.
Still doing it, Yatesy.
I think he's young enough to fit into that annex. So yeah, maybe he doesn't need to spend his money on a hotel room. Maybe he can just
phone up Chamber.
Stay in there.
Yeah,
he's still doing it.
Is he really? I didn't know he was.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
Wow. Now you're a season pro at this by now, but have you got one last thing for us, or are you done until tomorrow?
Myself?
Mm.
No. If you want to go to Reading, there's 2 tickets available. Get in the competition. Come on, Gov. In this world, not a lot of things are free.
They're certainly not. This is going to be free. Literally, it's going to be like this tweet.
You might not be able actually to give tickets away for this game.
No, well, but then I can't go next week because I'm out for the evening, which is a shame because I would like to have seen Jack Taylor. I'm not going to see him at home, am I?
Reading's a shithole anyway. I've been there enough times. I think I remember going there on a Friday night when we got Dick 5-1. Do you remember that game?
Yes, I do. Yes, many times we got absolutely beaten.
I did see one of my favourite ever Town goals there when John Stead. Do you remember the bicycle kick?
Oh, John Stead, what a player!
What a game! Giovanni Dos Santos was in the blue and white. Well, I can't remember what colour we were that day. Not sure what way it was.
This man here sorts all your ticketing needs out. So while you're voting for Talking Town ITFC as best club content creator, best influencer, Richard Cruncher.
I've got no chance about that. I've got no chance about with all them.
You should have, because if you just ask every single person you've ever sorted a ticket out for in the last 2 years.
Well, there you go. And
also,
don't forget to vote for Nunny with all this wonderful artwork.
Yep, George Nunn, best graphic and artist designer. Please give George Nunn some love.
It's at Anfield this year. It's at Anfield.
We can go and stake it out before we travel up for the Premier League fixture in the year out, in a few months' time.
Well, maybe.
See, you never know. You never done the Rose. And Rich, we love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you later.
Curtis, anything else for you before we leave tonight?
No. I'll I'll let Philip Lundell can have his one last things. I'm done. I've said what I need to say. I'll tell you what, I will have one last thing actually. I think the outpour of love that Greg Lee got. Yeah, I think that just goes to show what type of player he was for us. The impact that he did have in his very, let's face it, few appearances over the season, and just the man that he was, the person that you saw on video, the person that you saw embracing the culture of the club. I think the man deserves to go and play football. The man deserves to play at a decent level. No point warming a bench for us. He deserves more than that, and we all rate him highly. I think that's fair to say. So by all means, go on, have a good career somewhere else, and hopefully we'll see him grace that Portman Road pitch again at some point.
Certainly will. This has been Talking Town Transfer Reaction Show. I'm the Gov. That is the artist Curtis Yates. You have been the wonderful Talking Town audience and biggest supporters of Ipswich Town Football Club. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. And we're back tomorrow for the final look ahead to the weekend and Leeds. And, of course, match reaction directly following full-time whistle at the feet of the Sir Ralph Ramsey statue. Come and join us. Come and watch. Come and see how it all unfolds. That road Cam's had a great time tonight. It's up and down, up and down. But, yeah, until tomorrow, with love, with care. Yeah.
Crazy from just the thought of you.